Welcome to Up to Speed, Baker Tilly's automotive industry podcast. I am Mike.mader, your host and dealership principal at Baker Tilly. Our podcast serves as a hub for the automotive industry, featuring conversations with industry leaders on topics related to tax, accounting, and operations of the retail dealerships. We deliver fresh insights to your inbox every third Wednesday of every month. To catch up on past episodes, visit our website at bakertilly.com/dealerships or check out the Baker Tilly US YouTube channel. Today, we have an exciting episode lined up for you. Joining us is Alastair Moore, the Senior Product Marketing Manager at Yooz. Yooz is a leading provider of intelligent financial automation solutions that streamline and optimize the accounts payable process for businesses. Their innovative technology leverages AI, machine learning, and robotic process automation to enhance the efficiencies and accuracy of their financial operations. Alastair leads the go-to-market strategy for new products and features at Yooz, with nearly 15 years of experience driving product growth for B2B SaaS solutions that apply emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotic process automation. As a practical technologist, Alastair's focus is on driving education about new technology and making complex solutions easily understood. Welcome, Alastair.
Thanks so much, Michael. Good to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. So, Alastair, I did a brief introduction of what your current role is, but can you give our audience a little more detail on your background and how you got involved in artificial intelligence and other technologies?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've worked across a variety of startups and enterprises in project management, product strategy, and product development roles, specifically in developing novel technologies and solutions that utilize AI and machine learning and robotic process automation. And I am now involved in strategies that involve figuring out how those solutions are brought to market and how to communicate to them, to the market itself, customers, and the average layperson.
So about how long have you been in the AI world?
I would say it's been probably the last 8 years.
Okay. All right. Right when it started, pretty much, huh?
Yep, that's right.
All right.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, technically it goes back to around the 70s.
Yeah.
But in its modern incarnation, absolutely, yeah.
Yes. And it continues to go faster and faster. It's kind of crazy.
That's right.
So, all right, well, let's dive into our discussion for today. So, Alastair, we want to help dealerships unlock the power of their back office. So, how can modern financial solutions using AI transform what's traditionally been kind of a manual, overlooked part of the dealership, our back office, into a strategic asset?
Right, that's a great question, Michael. So I think what's often looked is that the dealership back office holds an enormous amount of latent value. I think traditionally it's been seen as a cost center, a place for processing invoices, reconciling accounts, managing vendor payments. But with AI-powered financial solutions, that paradigm, I think, is slowly starting to shift in a lot of important ways. To start off with accounts payables and receivables, which is the area that we address. So traditionally, very paper-heavy, error-prone, AI can extract, validate, and post invoice data automatically, match to purchase orders, flag anomalies, and even predict the best time to pay based on cash flow or vendor terms. And then, of course, you also have a lot of different areas within the back office: contract management and compliance, general ledger reconciliation and forecasting, manual and error-prone processes, and anywhere that requires data visibility that didn't exist before. Now you have a way to harness AI's predictive capabilities and forecasting to take things to another level and to really engage that latent value in the back office.
And I got to assume having running AI in the back office has got to produce a significant amount of efficiencies.
100%. I think that's one of the first value areas that we see with a lot of our customers within dealerships and automotive in their back office. Is efficiency is one of the first things that you're going to see as a direct metric as a result of utilizing AI and machine learning driven systems.
Okay, so why don't you give us an example of what a modern dealership back office actually looks like?
So I guess there are a whole lot of permutations of what a back office in an AI-driven dealership might look like, in the sort of modern FinOps environment might look like. The first thing that you might see is centralized financial visibility across the entire group. That could look like unified dashboards, providing real-time visibility into spend and liabilities and cash positions. It could be AI helping aggregate and normalize financial data across different systems, DMSs, ERPs, banking platforms. It could also look like AI-enhanced budgeting and cash flow forecasting, automated vendor and contracted lifecycle management. So all of these things, and then also real-time spend intelligence and expense control. Lots of disparate systems working together in ways that are a lot more intelligent and a lot more predictive.
So I got to imagine when you look at, you can talk from a single point dealership operations to a very large 100, 200 rooftop dealership operation. The accounts payable, and that's what Yooz focuses on, is the accounts payable side. Being able to centralize that using AI and automation has got to be able to make that significantly easier than what it's ever been in the past.
100%. I think the ability to centralize both your operations and the data that is being extracted and utilized across all of the disparate applications across multiple locations is absolutely way easier than it has been in the past, especially over the last 5 years. Especially, we've seen tremendous improvements across different applications, solutions that help facilitate that.
Okay, so let's get into the actual AI and the automation. So we all hear about AI growing. It kind of learns what it's doing and how it processes and makes things better. But how does machine learning actually evolve over time? Does it get smarter as the dealership actually uses it?
A really good question, and quite a complex one. So the short answer is that yes, machine learning absolutely does get better over time. However, it's important to remember that there are dozens and dozens of distinct machine learning models and AI models out there. I think a lot of people interact with on a day-to-day basis these days, right? Some, like large language models, are very resource intensive, and others are built for specific certain types of businesses and for more in line with scaling. They're less resource intensive, they're more economical. So think of it like a gas guzzler versus a more economical car, right? But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, and I want to make sure I articulate this in a way that's meaningful, maybe for our audience. So we utilize a type of AI model called symbolic AI and second-order inference engines. How this might be applied within a back office dealership context is, firstly, you might have an invoice approval routing process with context-aware exceptions. So our symbolic AI might encode rules like if an invoice total is greater than $10,000 and a vendor is an outside service provider, then you route that invoice to the CFO. Now, our second-order inference engine AI evaluates what we refer to as meta rules. And what that might look like is if that invoice has previously been approved under similar conditions and within budget, then you override the escalation and you route to the controller instead. So the key thing about the AI is that it's enabling policy reasoning over time. So you reduce over-escalation, you improve efficiency, and that's one of the main benefits of that initial part of the AI within that context. The machine learning, we utilize semantic machine learning. So both of the AI and machine learning that we utilize is very economical, very resource efficient. It's not very wasteful. So some solutions still rely on old zoning methods. Essentially, you memorize where a user clicks on an invoice. That's very brittle and vendor specific. We take a different approach. We use full text semantic machine learning. So it doesn't care where the data is. It learns what it's analyzing by looking at the language and the structure of the invoices. Because it's a shared model, then it improves with every user or every instance. So without the risk of bad data from one user polluting the results for the others. In AI and AP automation, it might look like the system is learning from all of the other invoices. It learns that the invoices from a part supplier always goes to a specific department and account, even if the layout or the format changes. And eventually it'll be able to handle those steps with little to no user input. The real power comes from when you combine all of these things. So AI captures and understands the data, the machine learning learns the patterns and improves over time. And robotic process automation, which I think we referenced at the beginning, executes on the action, like posting the entry automatically to the ERP.
So it actually sounds like it's taking, so I don't want to say some human interaction out of it, obviously. That's why it's becoming robotic process. But don't dealerships need to balance kind of that automation with the need for human oversight and control, especially in the auto industry? It's a very fast-paced, high-volume environment. So how do you balance all that?
I think it's a really good question. It's also a very common question that we hear very often. The short answer is, I think it should absolutely be on the priority that any solution, any effective automation doesn't replace human oversight. It augments or it amplifies it. So especially in high volume, high stakes dealership environments, the AI should be designed to work with finance professionals, not around them or supplant them. Dealerships don't just need automation, they need responsible automation. So the key is to implement systems that automate what should be automated, so that's repetitive, rules-based tasks, while giving humans control over those exceptions, escalations, and approvals. Ultimately, I don't think it's about replacing people. I think it's about them responsibly managing and elevating the people so that they can focus on strategy, not just data entry.
Doing the higher level stuff that AI probably can't do at this point.
100%.
Not yet anyway, right?
Not quite yet. Maybe we'll get there one day.
Yes. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the operation. So the operation impact, how do I want to say this? What impact can the AI have on the accounting office, and why should dealership owners and GMs care about what's happening in their back office on an operational basis?
It's an interesting question to try and answer. I think, of course, dealership owners and GM should absolutely care about their back office.
Right, they should, yeah.
Glamorous. But ultimately, I think, that's where the margin protection, the risk mitigation, and the operational scale all happen. If you think about it, your front-end revenue can be wiped out by poor cash flow visibility, by late fees, by penalties, unclaimed discounts, vendor errors, etc. So the back office can handle a great deal in payables, payroll, and floor plan interest, but it's often running on outdated tools and manual workarounds. So that's where I think it really does behoove the dealership owners to think about the solutions that they're using to bolster their back office. And with AI-powered automation, I think it can go from that sort of necessary burden to a strategic advantage for them.
So have you seen, I can imagine, you talked about a little bit earlier how your product, specifically Yooz, will analyze the invoices and kind of determine the best payment cycle, if you want to call it, for when invoices can get paid and how much they should get paid, maybe taking into consideration discounts for paying earlier and so on and so forth. Have you seen, or do you have any specific wins where the AI technology, such as Yooz, has improved vendor relationships or negotiating power through faster payments and better visibility?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's a very reasonable question to ask. So what are the real world sort of wins that we've seen from industry reports that I've reviewed recently? I've seen time saving statistics attributed to AI and machine learning solutions, decreasing processing time from 10 to 12 minutes down to 1 to 2 minutes per invoice, and even more. I think in that specific example, if a dealership, is processing 100 invoices monthly, they then save about 15 hours, which so translates into quite a big time saving. The most measurable and specific data we have is from our own customers. So where we're able to access specific metrics around processing efficiency and time taken across, say, review, approval, coding, posting, and payment. North Star Auto, for example, one of our clients, improved their invoice processing speed by about 50%. They also automate their capture coding and workflows, including approval and escalations across multiple rooftops. Tamara Paciano, their corporate controller, said that it allowed them to reallocate their resources more strategically because of that. So for them, the time savings, accuracy, and visibility are pretty much game changers, specifically due to the AI. Another one of our clients, Peterson Automotive Group, Patsy Rice, the director of ops there, said that they went from, I believe, entering invoices used to take them about 5 minutes, and now it's 15 seconds or less.
Wow.
So that's sort of a roughly like a 90 or 95% time savings right there. And you multiply that across 2,500 invoices a month, and it's for them as well. It's a game changer. So those are, in my mind, sort of from a specific use case perspective, some, I think, pretty big wins there.
Okay. I mean, and that's a great example as far as the efficiency that can be gained primarily in the accounts payable side alone. You know, and one of my other thoughts is how does AI grow with the dealership? But in this situation, when you think about it, if it's processing 15 seconds to do an invoice versus 5 minutes that it was processing before, the dealership can grow significantly, enhance, and not have to change hardly anything because the AI is going to take care of a lot of it. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, 100%. I think, I think what we're indirectly referring to there is scalability. And I think scalability, certainly for some companies, right? Maybe scalability isn't the foremost strategic objective for some, but certainly for dealerships that are focused on scaling and having their back office support it, it's absolutely going to enable scalability through M&A, different types of mergers and acquisitions, and then expanding exponentially to multiple rooftops. It's going to enable that scalability.
And I got to imagine, I mean, anybody that's on this, listening to this podcast or video series is familiar with the DMS, the dealer management system, and how challenging they can be to integrate in. And I think it's essential that if you're going with any type of an AI program, it's got to be able to integrate with your DMS system. Would you agree with that? I'm assuming Yooz probably integrates with just about every DMS that's out there.
Absolutely. I think it's a great question because no matter how smart an AI solution is, it has to play well with the systems that dealerships already use, like their DMS platforms. In practice, any solution that is incorporating AI and machine learning should be designed to integrate seamlessly with a major DMS or ERP system, whether that's Techion, CDK, Reynolds & Reynolds, DealerTrack. The approach that we take for integration, first of all, we support all of the major DMS and ERP systems. I think we support over 250 overall. But the approach we take is really around data synchronization, so making sure that you automatically push approved invoice data, GL codes, vendor records into the DMS for accounting and reconciliation. Two-way communication is a must. You can't just, it's ideal not to just push or pull data. You want to be doing both. So pulling purchase order or vendor information from the DMS to help with intelligent invoice matching in our specific use case. And then the type of communication as well is very important, right? The API or flat file in some instances, using secure automated file transfers or real-time APIs to ensure a smooth and reliable data flow, because API relies on good data. So being able to get that data from the DMS is extremely valuable. So whatever the use case, the result should look like a connected ecosystem, right? The goal shouldn't be to rip and replace something you already have, but to augment what dealerships are already using with intelligence or automation.
Okay, great. Thank you. So one last question. So if you had any words of wisdom or I guess some calming words to say to some dealers that are a little reluctant to go AI, robotic processing, because there is a fear out there of AI and what it can do and what it can't do and just the understanding of it. What would you say?
I would say be wary, but don't be scared, right? I think there have been a lot of instances, especially with novel technology, where vaporware is being sold. Things are being overpromised and underdelivered. And I think that is a danger with AI because there are so many different types of AI, so many different models. But I think in our day-to-day, we can now see with large language models like ChatGPT, with economic and models designed to scale, like the ones that we use and I mentioned. These are demonstrative. They've provided demonstrative value in our day-to-day, in our week-to-week, month-to-month, both on a consumer level and within operations like dealerships. So modern fintech, especially AI cloud, AP automation platforms like Yooz, are meant to support scalability. They're meant to support existing processes. They are not. I think if you're out there, if the audience are out there and you're looking for solutions, simply ask some of the questions that you've seen today. Is it built to integrate with our system? Can you demonstrate that? Have you had a track record of delivering specific results according to the kind of metrics that you outline? These are all, I think, reasonable questions to ask, and any solution should be able to demonstrate them very confidently and very simply. It doesn't have to be an inscrutable, impenetrable veil that a lot of dealerships need to be worried about or scared of. I think it's a really, really useful tool. It's a really, really fascinating technology, and it can solve very, very real issues and problems that dealership back offices have.
So I always like the saying, trust but verify.
Trust
that it's going to do the right thing, but just verify that it is doing the right thing for you. So, all right. Well, thank you, Alastair, for sharing your insights on the role of AI in transforming the back offices of dealerships. It's been a fascinating discussion. I'm sure our listeners have gained some valuable knowledge from our discussion today.
Thanks so much for having me, Michael. It's been great being here.
All right. Well, this wraps up today's episode of Up to Speed. Remember, you can listen or view past episodes on our website at bakertilly.com/dealerships, or find them on the Baker Tilly US YouTube channel. Join us next month for another engaging conversation. Until then, stay tuned and stay up to speed.